Hello, welcome back to Survival Saturday with Johnny Tiger. On April 17, 2021, I remember a friend and a student mentioned to me once something that I keep in my heart because I think it's such a good realization to come to. After training with me for 2 years, he said, he's a sensei. It's really strange. Before I came to train with you, even though I was never trained in any martial art, I was fit and strong and quick. So I thought, I was ready. I knew if I was out there and anyone was to pick a fight with me, I was ready. I was ready to defend myself. And even if I was to lose, I knew I could do a good number on them because, hey, I was quick and how hard can it be anyway? After all, most people are not trained, just like me. So, if their fist against my fist, my muscle against their muscle. No problem. I knew I could defend myself. But after training with you for 2 years, suddenly I don't ever want to get in a fight. I say to myself, I hope I never get into a fight. Because now I know how deep the water is. Now I think how scary it is when an ordinary, mild mannered blind guy like yourself can be walking out there and no one would have any idea what you are capable of if they get into a fight with you. When I look at other high ranking guys that in our class, in our program, I look at them, if those guys throw on a suit and tie or jacket, you would think they're just ordinary guys. It's regular Joe and you would think that they would be easy picking, and you wouldn't know until it's too late how much trouble you just got into by picking a fight with someone who's been uh, competing or fighting or teaching for years and years. So now, after I learned martial art and self-defense, suddenly I don't want to fight anymore. I said, that's good. I'm glad you think so because it is a really dangerous situation out there when you get into a fight. So today, just on the spirit of what he said, um, I'm going to run you guys through the list of 5 of the most dangerous assumptions you can make in a self-defense situation in a fight. Okay, we are not talking about a fight like you're in a school and someone trying to take your lunch money. We are not talking about fight like your annoying cousin is trying to wrestle you and stuff like that. Okay, those are not really that dangerous as a whole. Those situations can usually be avoided or smoothed over just by being a little bit tactful, being a little bit diplomatic, and yes, being able to allow yourself to the play low key, to back down, to step away. A lot of fight, really, a lot of war in this world, a lot of fight in this world could have been avoided if one person somewhere along the way knew enough to just step away and say, okay, you know what, you're right, you're so right. I am a pussy. That yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree with you. You are tougher than me. You're bigger than me. You're better looking than me. And I'm sorry I was talking to your girlfriend, but it's not like what you think. Your girlfriend just reminded me of my sister who passed away many years ago. I'm sorry, but yeah, I miss my sister so much. Like, uh, as ridiculous as this sounds, I know my sister didn't really pass away, but in examples like this, things like that can really help turn that fight off before it starts. But what if the fight is really going to start? What if it's going to happen? There are 5 assumptions that are so dangerous that it's worthwhile talking about. And one of the assumptions is a certain kitten that trying to attack the sleeve of my gi while I'm making a video. Uh, anyway, back to our main topic of the day. The first dangerous assumption, and I hear a lot of people make this one, both in the self-defense circle and in the untrained circle, the first biggest, really dangerous assumption that you can make in a self-defense situation in a fight is you assume the other person is or probably is untrained or not very well trained. Okay, that is so dangerous that it's really worth thinking about. Right? You may be right. The 50%, maybe 60%, maybe 70% of muggers or bullies or whatever out there might be untrained. But would you really want to stake your life on it? Because there's still a 30% chance that you're going to run into someone who's really well trained. Okay? Um, when I was a teenager, when I was 16, 17, I hung out with some bad people for a period of time. I'm not going to go too deep into this because this is going to come out later in the Johnny Tiger documentary, so I don't want to spoil anything. But we do cover that in more detail in the documentary. But suffice to say, I was hanging out with the wrong element, and even then, at the age of 16, age of 17, I was really, really, really well trained. I started training when I was 8.5. So you can imagine by then I almost had 10 years under my belt with various martial arts. So I was really well trained, and there were people around me, drug dealers, uh, bodyguards, uh, leg breakers, even people who were going to high schools and shake down students for their lunch money. Some of these people were kickboxing champions. Some of these people were almost professional league boxers. Some of these people were judo experts. Some of these people were black belts in multiple disciplines. Especially when we got into places where we actually worked for various criminal elements, then those criminal elements, they either they will pay better if you have a really good fight reputation, if you're really tough, or they will pay for you to go get trained if you show enough potential to that you are going to be a good fighter. So when you're out there walking down that dark alley, it is going to be deadly if you assume that the guys coming out to rob you or attack you is going to be untrained teenagers. Some of these teenagers might be really well trained. They might be so well trained that they could be fighting in the professional league, but just because of their background or family or lack of money or drug addiction, one thing or another, they end up on the street. These are extremely dangerous people. A few years ago, here in Vancouver, there was a psychologist who almost got killed by his patient, and the patient turned out to be a world-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion. A world-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion was there in a mental ward, and he went crazy and almost choked the psychiatrist to death. Right? So especially at the age, at the time we are at today, where any kind of training is so easily gained that you can walk into your local gym, and at least here in Richmond, you can't go 2 or 3 blocks without coming across some gym that's going to be advertising martial art training of one form or another. And there are self-trained people, people who've been to jail that train is there. People who just do it at home and they watch a lot of YouTube video. And yes, it's really hard to be a good fighter by just watching YouTube video, but there are freak of natures out there that can actually do it. Right? If if they watch enough YouTube video, they follow all the instructions, they do all the body conditioning, they do all the push-ups, they do all the technique drills, and they get into enough street fight, the pig fight with people often enough, they are really good fighters. But don't fool yourself. Don't assume that whoever that you're going to get in fight with, whoever that's going to be attacking you is untrained. Okay? Just assume that they are better trained than you. Then you will not get that kind of nasty surprise when a person suddenly busts out a perfect roundhouse kick or a perfect rear naked choke or something like that. The second most dangerous assumption you can make in a self-defense situation or in a fight is that to assume that there's a script, to assume there's a script. And what do I mean by that? Pause a second and visualize. If I tell you you are going to be in a fight in 5 minutes, someone is going to attack you. Someone is going to come towards you and they are going to attack you. Close your eyes and visualize for a second. I imagine a lot of people are thinking the attack is going to go down like pow, punch to the face, or pow, smack across the face, or smack upside the head, or pushing, shoving the chest. Because that's what a lot of us are conditioned into thinking that's how fight go down. That there's a script, there's some shoving, there's a punch to the face, there might be a punch to the stomach, there might be a choke to the throat. Okay, but when you think that that is how it's going to go down, you think you're prepared. It's when you are going to get surprised so bad that it may cost your life in the end. For example, most people, unless they've been into enough fights, will not visualize a person that is attacking them just walking up to them and then kicks them in the groin. Right? Most people will not imagine that. Most people will not visualize that. Most people will not imagine a person walking up to them and just jump up and pow right in the face. Both hand, open hand, pow, slap right in the face while they're airborne. Right? I'm not making these up. These have been proven fighting techniques on the street. A lot of street thugs, a lot of gangsters, they start their fight doing something like this. Once upon a time, I believe this was in the early 50s, there was a very famous gangster in the United States, and he killed a lot of people. And one of his favorite way to start a fight was he jump up and bring his arm pow down on the person's head and then smash their head into the ground, break their head open. Right? So when you are expecting a punch in the face, like regular bar fight, when you are expecting the roundhouse kick to the leg, when you're expecting the shove to the chest, don't neglect to think that this might happen totally unexpected. Right? A lot of time when I get into sparring sessions or competition and I'm able to defeat my opponents, even though I'm blind, I'm partially dead, it's because I am able to surprise them. Okay? I'm able to surprise them. When you look at me right now, I'm wearing my karate uniform with my belt. Okay? I look totally uh, karateka. Uh, so if I was going to say, okay, we are going to fight, I think that most of you are thinking I'm going to pull some karate move on you, or I'm at the very least I'm going to do some taekwondo or kung fu like thing, right? So most of the time, if I'm wearing a uniform like this, I'm not going to start the fight by doing something so obvious. If I'm wearing something like this, I'm going to start the fight by stepping forward, my hand not even up to block my face. Go ahead and punch me in the face if you want, because as soon as I step forward, I'm going to whip my hand right into your groin. Right? That's my start. That's one of my starters. I'm not going to stand here and do karate with you. I'm not going to stand here and do judo with you unless we previously agreed upon. That's what I'm going to do. If there's no agreement, then I do Krav Maga. I do self-defense, which is there's no rule, there's no pattern. I'm going to hit you where it hurts the most and go from there. And that is the thing on the street. If you end up in a fight, do not assume that there's a script. Do not assume that there's a rhyme, a tempo, a rhythm. Be ready to react to anything. If you see them jump, get ready to step aside. If you see them duck, get ready to bring your leg up. If you see them come forward, get ready to turn your torso. If you see them reach into their pocket, get ready to jump in and grab their arm. Stop that weapon from coming out. Okay? Don't get locked into the mentality that there is a set script. The third most dangerous assumption you can make in a fight is that pain will make them go away. Pain will make them go away. That pain compliance is enough. And I see so much, this is being so much a problem with people who do jiu-jitsu. With I'm not trash talking Brazilian jiu-jitsu or grappling martial art, but this happened a lot with people who do Aikido, people who do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and yes, sometimes with people who do Krav Maga. Uh, they think that because they apply this wrist lock, they apply that arm bar, the person will tap out and then the person run away. Because now they know who's boss. Now they know you're tough. Well, that's not going to happen all the time. And one of these times, what's going to happen is you go and apply the arm lock or arm bar or wrist lock, the person pull out a knife and put it right into your belly, right? I remember walking to class once and there was another sensei in our class. He's from another program. And I heard him say to our student in Krav Maga, he said, you know, a very easy way to stop someone is to put your thumb in the pressure point right here under their collarbone. And if you push in, the pain is so much, and no one can ignore that pain. And I remember I was shaking my head. I said, that works maybe 90% of the time, but there are people who can push through that. And he was so adamant. He said, no, no. If you think that you can ignore that pain, then you're against someone who doesn't really know how to use it. If I do it, anyone, it's work on anybody. So I said, okay, go ahead. I'm standing here. Put your thumb. Take your time. Find the right pressure point. Right? And all you have to do is stop me from walking close enough to hit you. Right? So we start like arm length away, him being taller, longer reach. So if we are arm distance away, I couldn't hit him. Okay, and so he put his thumb against my collarbone. He actually got both thumb, one on each collarbone, and he pushed in. And okay, yeah, it hurt a lot. I'm not going to kid, it does hurt a lot. But all that does is piss me off. It doesn't make me want to go away. He pushed into that pressure point. I rushed forward, grabbed him, and slammed him down to the ground. Right? Pain or no pain. There was another instance where one of our students decided that the best way to stop someone, if someone comes at you with a knife and coming to stab you, he said the best way is to punch them in the face because then they'll forget about the knife. They'll fall down, right? And in fact, when he was trying it out on other students, it worked like a charm. But I told him, I said, don't count on that one because it's dangerous. There are people who's going to be able to kill you even when you punch them in the face. And again, he wasn't convinced, and he said no one can ignore being punched in the face and being knocked down. So I said, okay, fine, I'll show you. I'm going to walk slowly toward you with my knife. I'm not even going to charge toward you. I want you to punch me in the face as hard as you can, knock me down, knock me out cold if you can, and I'll show you what's going to happen. So I walked toward him. He punched me in the face really hard. Like he punched me hard enough that I did go down. But what happened? On the way down, when I was falling, I jammed the knife into his leg and then cut his ankle again when I hit the ground. While I was falling, while I was being punched in the face, I fell down. I cut him twice before I even hit the ground. In real life, with a real knife, that would be it for him, right? So don't count on the pain being that ultimate way to stop your opponent. Sometimes the pain is not enough. Sometimes you actually have to break something. Sometimes you actually have to disable them. Uh, So, number three, don't assume that the pain will make the person run away. Number four, you assume that it's a one-on-one fight. This one's really obvious, so we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. But for people out there who think that judo is a great way to defend yourself with, Brazilian jiu-jitsu is a great way to defend yourself with, or even boxing, a great way to defend yourself with, I would say, please, go and try to get three or four of your friends to jump you, right? Not one at a time, like in the Jackie Chan movie, but tell your friends. These can even be untrained friends. Okay, you can give some of them a stick, some of them a training knife, or they can be empty-handed. And you tell your friend, go ahead, do everything you can to take me down to the ground, and uh, make it look like that I lost the fight. Unless you're really, 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 really good, and you have some other form of training, and you have a lot of experience, I will guarantee you that you just suddenly find that your judo is not working, your Brazilian jiu-jitsu is not working, your boxing is not working, when all four of them mob you at the same time. Okay, so that is not saying that Brazilian jiu-jitsu is no good. That is not saying that judo or boxing is no good. They're perfectly fine with a one-on-one situation or sometimes even one-on-two. But when you get mobbed, those techniques will not work. Now this is where stuff like Israeli Krav Maga come in really handy. Things like Wing Chun might come in really handy. Is that these disciplines, these styles, they actually focus a lot of time on showing you how to deal with crowd control. They actually devote a majority of their time in a good Krav Maga program. We do devote a majority of our time teaching you how to fight one on two, one on three, all the way up to one on 10 sometimes. Okay, now I'm not going to stand here and say if you are a good Krav Maga fighter, you can do one on 10 and it will be no problem. It's going to be messy. Most likely you will still lose in the end, but at least you have a fighting chance. Okay, so don't assume that fight is going to be one on one. It may start out one on one. Yeah, you and the person attacking you may decide to do the honorable thing, go one on one, and the next thing you know, you got the person on the ground. You throw your leg over their face, and then you go and do your fantastic arm bar, and you lean back. You grab their arm, you lean back, and then their partners decide at that very moment to jump in, and as you lean back, they stomp on your face, and that's bye bye. That's night night time for you. Okay, so don't assume that it's going to be one-on-one, always be prepared that it may be a lot worse than that. Number five, the fifth dangerous assumption to make is that it is over when the fight is over. It is over when the fight is over. A lot of people, they think that, okay, I knocked this guy down, uh, I this guy tapped out, now it's done, finished. There's a lot of YouTube video that you can find that shows how the person get knocked down, get back up a few minutes later, chase you down, and this time they may have a weapon, or this time they know that you are going to throw your boxing punches or MMA punches. This time they do something totally wacky. The second time is harder. The third time is even harder. Even if they don't get back up right away, you have to consider today you get into this fight, you win, great, you feel good, you're the champ, you're the badass. Is this person going to follow you home tomorrow and break the window in your house? Is this person going to burn down your house in the middle of the night? Is this person going to vandalize your car? Is this person going to shoot your dog when you're not watching? Right? You are going to spend the next month or more looking over your shoulder, jumping at every sound, because this person always have the possibility to hold a grudge and want to come back for round two or round three. So don't get into a fight thinking that if you win the fight, it's over with. Okay? Avoid the fight at all costs. And if you do have to get into a fight, make sure, make sure that you pay attention to what's around you for a little while. A few days, a few weeks after the fight, always pay attention to who's around you, who might be sneaking up on you, who might be following you. Okay? Because sometimes, most of the time, a person will not take a beating very gracefully. A person will not take a beating and then decide, okay, he beat me, that's it, I suck. No, they're going to say that was a fluke on his part. Or, okay, I can't beat him face to face. I'm going to do something really nasty to his house instead. So, quick recap. Five of the most dangerous assumptions you can make in a self-defense situation in a fight. First, assuming the person is untrained. Second, assuming that there is a script. Third, assuming that pain will stop them. And four, assuming that it's going to be one-on-one. And five, last but not least, assuming that the conflict is over when the fight is over. Thank you for checking out today's Survival Saturday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Soul Search Sunday. For now, have a good night.